Rob?
What's up, man?
Dude, these are nice domes, bro.
Appreciate it, brother.
How many do you have, man? How many do you have?
We have 5 out here. They're all different. Some have hot tubs, some have freezers, TVs, just different styles and different models.
This is sick, bro. This is sick.
Yeah, man.
Let's
Come
walk
on
in
in.
here. Appreciate it, bro. Appreciate it.
Yeah, but
So
this
what
is
are
our
the-
Maverick suite.
This is the Maverick.
This is the Maverick suite. It's a very popular suite. This one comes with a hot tub and all of that good stuff. Pac-Man.
Dang,
Got the
bro.
retro fridge in here.
You gotta have that, bro.
Yeah,
I can see
dude.
some coffee here too,
Coffee,
bro.
Keurigs.
So honestly,
Yeah.
bro, this is like 5-star living, bro. out on the ranch, because it's 20 acres, right?
Yeah,
You said?
20 acres, dude. Wake up, you hear the
Dang.
birds, see rabbits jumping around.
Shower.
Shower, everything, man. They're about 300 square feet, so they're pretty small. But
Honestly, that's huge though.
Yeah,
Like
it feels-
300
it
square
feels a
foot
lot
is
bigger in
2
here.
rooms in a home.
yeah,
Like 12 by 12 is 144 square foot. So it's like 2 rooms, like a master.
yeah, dude.
I see you have like a full-size bed in here, and they
Yeah.
could kind of take a peek and look at the
Everything out there.
extraterrestrial
Yeah.
views and whatnot.
We even have some like lighting that they can put up in here and everything.
That's
so.
sick, bro. That's
Yeah,
sick.
dude.
So you have 5 that kind of just go.
Yeah, they kind of just go down towards the pond. So like the pond's in the front of the property, and then interesting thing, you actually have fish food for people to feed the fish.
Wow.
And we'll give you some fish food so you can go out there and feed them too, bro.
Oh,
So,
the fish
take
food.
that'll be yours.
Fish food.
Yeah.
And also, a little Google
reviews.
Yup.
Yep.
I love that, bro.
Yeah.
I love that. And it seems like this is important too, because a lot of times people are wondering what you could do
Yeah.
and have information, eat and
Places
drink.
to eat, things to
Let's
do.
go.
Yeah, dude.
That's awesome, Rob. I love the place, bro.
We are in the front of the property now, walking towards the pond. It's an acre in size, bunch of fish. We actually brought these fish in from the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So they're known for growing trophy-sized fish, which you're about to see. We have some big ones that will not show up because they eat more live bait. But some of the smaller ones, around 8 to 10 pounds in size, they'll show their heads. So, yeah. Oh yeah.
What's up, guys? We have a special podcast for you guys today. My name is Sonny, and super stoked about this episode. So let's get started. All right, guys, I'm here with Robert Carrasco, entrepreneur, YouTuber, investor, and honestly, guys, a young gun in the game. And we're about to chat about some things that are going on in his life, things that are going on in the world, and kind of bring it all together to bring you guys kind of some of the latest info and kind of just a little deep dive in who we are and how it all plays out into real estate and how it plays out in investing. And I know you guys are going to love this episode. And a little bit more about Robert. Robert is actually a real close friend of mine. He's actually a client. We're building a home with him. He's trusted us to do that for him. And we've done a podcast in the past, and we felt the time is right to kind of come in and show you where he is at here just a few years later on beautiful 20 acres here, where he has GEO domes that are now developing a residual income for him and his family. He no longer has a 9-to-5. How awesome is that? One of the guys, I mean, this cool thing about it, guys, he's under 30 years old. I mean, am I right about that?
31 now.
Hey, right at 30, right at 30 years old, bro. And it's super impressive to see what he's done from his late 20s, mid to late 20s to now early 30s. And I'm just super impressed. And every time I get an opportunity to come and chat with him, I'm going to include you guys, because I think each of one of you could benefit from the information and kind of just understanding what life is all about to certain people and how it could maybe impact you in your life and maybe give you some type of motivation to continue to be who you are, but also exceed any potential that you may be looking at in your life, and how we could kind of help you through this channel to guide you in that direction. Now, as far as Robert, man, he's a YouTuber. He has Carrasco Ranch, right? And then also, what's your other channel you just mentioned?
Country Investor.
The Country Investor. Super successful YouTube channels. And I would encourage you guys to click the links below and go ahead and give this guy a visit to his YouTube channels, because I guarantee you guys are going to walk away with some information and entertainment,
Yes,
from
sir.
what I hear. All right. So that's what's up, man. So you know what? I wanted to give you an awesome introduction because to me, it's important that the people know who you are. And I mean, you know, without kind of wasting any more time, man, this kind of a deep dive into what life as an entrepreneur has been for you. I know a few years back you had these awesome dreams and from being an entrepreneur that includes investing in stocks and crypto and now in real estate in this beautiful GEO Dome. What is life as an entrepreneur to you coming out of a 9 to 5, right? Because at first you were in a 9 to 5 from your early 20s, or kind of tell us a little bit how that played out and what the motivation was to kind of get out of that, man.
Man, honestly, it was just being really, really unhappy as a freaking employee. Like, I was working 72 hours a week, 60 plus hours a week. Like, I had no freaking life. I was making 6 figures, about 140,000 a year, which is good money.
Most people
that's success, you know. But I wasn't fulfilled. I wasn't happy, and at the end of the day, I really didn't even have time to spend that money.
Oh shit!
So, I guess kind of like the final last straw for me was we had a trip planned, and at the end they kind of told me, "Hey, you're gonna have to come in because you know so and so called out or whatever." I was like, "Well, I already have all this paid for," and they're like, "Well, if you don't come in, you know it's a write-up." So I was like, "Whoa, this is kind of screwed up," you know. And then I started thinking, I was like, man, I'm not really free. I'm still, for lack of a better word, a slave, in other words. Like, I have to listen to them, regardless what I have going on outside of life. I still have to come back and obey my master, in other words. So that was the kind of last straw for me. And then I started just educating myself, just watching YouTube videos and learning about real estate. And then I think around that time is when I got introduced to you. And then you got me into my first rental property that I still have, and then the rest is history. That's how I started getting out of it.
Man, you know, I had never knew that story about when the last straw was for you.
Yeah.
So like, what did you do that day? I mean, obviously you had the trip planned, but I mean, did you have to go back, or did you like say, you know what, forget this, bro? You know, like just
that's pretty much what I did. I was like,
okay,
you know what?
I'll take the write up.
Yeah, like you're gonna find somebody else because I'm not canceling my plans. So you know, I was kind of pushed out the door for honestly. After that, they knew like, oh, Robert can't be pushed around. Like, he's not going to listen to us. So what they ended up doing was going down to somebody, again, for another lack of a better word, weaker or more willing to give up their life or devote their life to somebody else. So I started getting outcasted slowly because I wasn't gonna put up with it, you know?
Right.
And so it took me, I was there for about 3 years, saving, investing, all that freaking money. And I would say the last couple months that I was there is when I really got heavy into investing, not only in real estate, crypto, and everything else, and then made quite a bit of money, hundreds of thousands. And then I was able to get out of there.
So, okay, so you had 3 years that you were in this career, year 1 all the way to the end, which is year 3. At what point in time, like, did you know that you were getting out, and what gave you the green light? Like, was it that you were able to attain the awesome, I guess, investments from crypto and stocks? Is that what said, you know what, this is it? Or was it like, dude, no matter what happens, like in 2 or 3 months, I'm out? Or like, what gave you that green light? Because I think that's a lot of everyone's, you know, situation is like, hey, man, I work as a teacher and I want to do this, but I just don't know how to get to that next part to help recover. Or is it just a leap of faith? Like, how did it work out for you?
It was freaking scary, and I honestly didn't know what the hell I was going to do. But I already had kind of drawn a line in the sand. I said, you know, this date, like, oh, that's it. I'm done. I'm not going to do it. And it was just a buildup of multiple things. Like, after I said no, that I wasn't coming in, and I was just being targeted. Because after that, nobody likes to get their authority questioned, right? So after that, I was just being targeted, and then started getting write-ups. I was like, oh, I see where this is going. They're trying to get me out of here.
For sure.
So, I'm not going to say the company's name on here, but yeah. I decided, you know what, this date, I'm getting out of here. So I started trying to get all my ducks in a row.
Okay.
Putting money away. And, sure enough, I was let go. I already had it, my letter of resignation ready to go.
Dang.
So
you already like foreshadowed it.
Yeah, I already had it ready to go anyway. So
So
it's
like,
kind of perfect. It kind of played out, and I would say it's faith in a way. And I wasn't sure if I was ready because it was about 2 months before I had actually planned it.
okay.
But I already had my letter ready to go, and I thought it was too early. But I am also a man of faith, so I was like, you know what? He says I'm ready. I'm ready. So
And you kind of let it play out.
just let it play out.
Well, it seems like you cannot ever be not prepared, right? So whenever it's someone that's in your position or maybe in my position, or if it's you that's in a career path where you're kind of like trying to figure it out, you always have to prep for that exit strategy, right? It can't just be like, well, whatever happens. It seems like there was some preparation involved mentally, some preparation involved where, you know, you start investing in certain things and you start diving into different types of, you know, business models, you know, and something that I can relate to with that, because I'm partially a slave and partially not, you know. What the cool thing is I'm a slave to my own business, basically, right? So, you know, with Poteet Homes, it's something that, I operate and kind of able to have some ownership in it. So I know what I'm putting in is to develop something that is going to be able to not only provide a benefit for my family, but for those that I have with me, right? Because that culture of slavery and kind of just, no, you must be here. We kind of operate a little different in our business, right? Where we have some flexibility and understanding that, some people's lives change at times. And we have a company that probably has about 85% of us that are family, right?
Yeah.
So there's a different kind of
Culture there, you know.
exactly, right? There's a different culture than maybe just, you know, where you at, show up, get here. So we operate a little differently, but I can relate to it because that's when I started looking outside of being an employee to our own business and being able to say, hey, you know what? I want to invest in homes. So now we have our rentals, right? We have our rental properties, you know, anywhere from 10 to 15 homes, units that we operate. And then we also have our avenues where, for example, myself, I'm a realtor, right? So that allows me to kind of have some flexibility to provide multiple streams of income per se to our family, to where we're not just solely dependent on some type of master that says, where are you at? You must be here. And that's your only income. And that, to me, guys, is where you could make that change in your life to be able to provide more value, not only to yourself, but to your family, because now you're able to kind of provide in different ways and it not be dependent on just one and done, and really leaves you vulnerable at that time. So that's what I super admire, because I'm about 10 years older than Robert, and this guy's got it figured out. And I'm just like, dude, a lot of you guys could kind of take some tips from him if that's you, young, aspiring, or even a little older, 40s, 50s. This is a model that is a copy and paste that will basically be able to kind of fit in anyone's life where they may be. Yeah. So let's kind of go into which I'm always super excited to talk about, is the investment side. Now we have real estate, but let's dive into a little bit about kind of the stock market and a little bit of the crypto, and where you at currently on that.
Yeah, so I mean, I still have the real estate stuff. I've kind of slowly backed out of real estate a little bit just because of the timing right now. So we're about to enter a bull market for crypto. So if you don't know, it's a cycle that happens every 4 years. So it just happens we're right now about to enter that cycle all the way up until 2025. Summer 2025 is when it ends. So once the summer of 2025 comes around, I'll probably start doing more real estate stuff. So that's how I kind of do it. I kind of play it as whatever is going to give me the biggest return at that specific time. So most of my, I guess, net worth is in cryptocurrency today. And I still hold real estate, still love real estate, still love owning it. I mean, it's a lot of fun. And I like adding value. I guess that's the best thing about real estate is you can add value. If you have a property that's, say, only worth $100,000, you can go redo the shower, the restrooms, the kitchens. You can add a lot of value that way. So again, it will also increase your net worth also as well, if that's something you're interested in. And then hopefully the way I have it planned out is the properties are like a retirement account. That's how I see them. They're cash flowing right now because they're rentals. They pay me every single month, whether I'm sleeping, whether I'm vacationing, whatever I'm doing, they're still paying me every single month. So it's a good, I guess, passive way to make money. And a lot of people think that rental properties are a hassle. I don't see it really as a hassle, to be honest with you. And I would say this is the reason that they're not too much of a hassle, is because when we pick up a house, we always go in there and put a lot of the things that break down, we put them in there brand new. So that way they're not bothering me and calling me at midnight when something's broken because it's 30 years old. So that's how I usually kind of gauge the properties, is I put a little bit of money up front. So hopefully I have a little bit of a clear mind and a clear conscience that I'm not going to be getting called 4 or 5 times a day or something. So yeah.
Yeah, that's a great strategy because, I mean, you being able to kind of see it through, I'm sure there's been some research that you've done and maybe some lessons learned in kind of attaining that. But those are the golden nuggets that I wanted to provide our viewers is, if you are getting into the rental game, take that nugget with you and know that, hey, you bought this 1963 house and it has old, electrical or whatever the case may be, an old stove. Just put the new stove in, $300 puts you a new stove, and now you don't have to worry about it going out. Just little things like that will provide not only a great experience for your renter, but also give you peace of mind, like when you're sleeping at night, that you're not going to get that call. And so whenever you think about real estate and passive income, I recommend that you guys look into not only the channels that he has and maybe our channel, but also into books such as like Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It's just that book there. I mean, you probably heard it before from me, but again, it's such a huge access to a part of your brain that you probably never knew that you could access. So go into this crypto, right? So you're heavily into crypto right now. Majority of your net worth is in crypto. From my understanding, I think you've been since the last bull run, kind of just dicing away, putting in. So at this point, those that are in already will see the best benefit. However, if someone's there and they're thinking of, oh, should I get in? I mean, is that something you're still doing? Or is it kind of like, hey, man, just wait till the next bull run and then get in at the bear market at that time?
So I'm not a financial advisor, but...
Disclaimer,
yeah. Not a financial advisor, but it's still very early. I think adoption worldwide is like at 4%. So it's very, very early. And it's kind of like the way I see the internet adoption. So the internet adoption was very exponential. So it started off kind of slow. People were a little skeptical about it, kind of where we are right now in crypto. But now we're starting to get, we're going to get that huge hockey stick curve is kind of what happened with the internet, the hockey stick curve. So we're probably going to have that with crypto. And the reason is it's just a faster way to send money. Who wants to carry around, $100,000 worth of gold or $100,000 worth of cash? You can keep it in your phone. So I can see that. I see it being the future. Do I think it's still a good time. We're still very early. I think Bitcoin's trading around 60 to 66,000. It's still very early. I think these things are going to hit 6 figures here pretty soon. So would I still invest in it? Yeah, I still would pick some up. Right now we have some big dips that have been happening this past 2-3 weeks. So I've picked up some more crypto or so. A lot more of the riskier ones is what I do now. If you are new to crypto, I would not go into any of these riskier coins because you're probably going to get wrecked if you don't know what you're doing. But with Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana, those are the top 3 quote-unquote safe bets. And there's never safety in investing. But those are the ones that are more, I guess, well-known, as well as you have big financial institutions like BlackRock, Fidelity, that are invested into Bitcoin. So you don't think they've done their research or they have their analysts doing research on all this. Why would they put billions of dollars into Bitcoin thinking it's going to go down to zero? So Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana are the safe bets for people who are new to crypto. And anything outside of that is play at your own risk, basically.
Where could someone go and because for a long time, I was on TradingView and kind of go through the Discords and whatnot when I was really heavily in crypto. It was really consuming a lot of what I was doing time-wise, and I was diving in. And I think that was kind of credit to, at that time, there was kind of a slash bear into a bull market in the 2020, 2022 range. And since then, I've kind of took a step back and kind of did reverse of what you're doing. And I'm just continuing to go into real estate. You know what I'm saying? And really, that's like my safe haven, right? That's kind of what I know best. I feel like the investments that I take into consideration are going to be more of like the safer of what's out there. So that becomes to something where, you guys there, if you do have an expertise in an area, however, if the market is not really, showing that it's the right time for it, there still are little pockets in those markets that you still could benefit from. And that's how I feel about real estate. Whereas maybe if you're new to it, may not want to do something like that and take a safer bet, such as, going into cryptos that are safer, and maybe going into real estate that's maybe a little safer investment. And that could mean many different things. So we won't really dive into that. But if you are interested in knowing more on how to maybe invest in these things, just send us a DM and we definitely could kind of point you in the right direction. I know Robert offers a lot of classes that you could kind of go in with him and kind of dive in a little deeper, and myself always available to chat with you guys. However that may play out on our social media platforms or on our YouTube channel, you could always look out for us to really help maybe give you some info on how to direct you there. And so that kind of really depends on the person in that aspect. So I mean, stock market, man. I know we talked about crypto. I'm in crypto, right? It's probably like 20% of what I got out there, real small. The rest 60-70% is in real estate, and then other things miscellaneous, just kind of other things out there that I like to do. So for the stock market, I mean, is that a play right now, or are you just kind of more so? I mean, I heard a lot about crypto from you, so
I don't have much in the stock market today. I used to, but I can make a little bit more money in crypto. Like, that's the honest truth. Like, it's just a little bit too slow now compared to everything else. Something that I haven't actually, I don't even know if you know this, but I actually have a little bit of art investments with Masterworks.
Sweet.
So it's, you have to do a little phone call. They get your information, kind of talk to you, see your kind of investor profile. And then, you can go in and invest in art. It's a different form of investing if that's something you're interested in.
I got you.
So
yeah, because someone may be that artsy and
maybe, maybe you have an eye for art and you can actually see the value that maybe I couldn't see or something,
Well, what made you get into art? Like, is that like?
I don't even remember how I got into it, to be honest with you. I think
it must have had related to money.
Yeah,
right?
Probably like an ad came up or something. I was like, oh, what is this? And then I just looked into it, scheduled the call, and then I only put $5,000 in there, so it wasn't a big investment, but yeah.
And that's kind of like a long term, or is that kind of like
so usually they hold it, from what I understand. I haven't sold any positions yet, but from what I understand, they usually hold it between 18 to 36 months.
Okay, so
and they average about 20% return
within that time frame, which is a little shy over 7% ish a year if you're doing it to the 3 years, which I think what anything in that 4 to 6% is kind of the target typically. I mean, that you want to make a return on your investment. I mean, is that a target that you have? Like, hey, this year if I put $10,000 into this, I expect a X amount of percent return.
Yeah,
or
I mean, it was just
depends on what the investment is, I'm sure.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, I think the one I bought was a Kusama painting. She's a very well-known artist. It was just more of a safer play in a way, and then also to kind of just diversify.
There you go.
In case something happens in crypto, I still have $5,000 sitting here. I can still pay my bills or whatever,
There you go. I see.
Another thing I also do is bonds, actually, worthy bonds. So worthy bonds is like a savings account is what I see. And it pays 7% interest on your money. You don't do anything. You just sit it there, forget it. And it pays you every day, actually. So it's even cool.
What?
Yeah.
Bonds.
Well, bonds. Yeah.
So that's kind of like municipal bonds?
No, this is like a little app, and they basically lend out their money to small businesses and other businesses. And now I think they actually have some real estate bonds. So you still get paid 7% for putting your money in there.
Is that I know I've seen you do some promotional stuff, kind of like, hey, follow my link if you want to invest. Is that similar, or
yeah, it's pretty similar.
Do you want to throw a shout out to the people on what I know it's a SoFi or
so
or
SoFi,
do you still do that?
Yeah,
Okay.
I still have a SoFi account, and if you followed our links, we'll probably leave some down below. I think you get like $50-$75 for signing up.
Cool.
It's free money, free gas money.
And that's by using your link.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then we get a little kickback as well, but you get some money too. So
it's all like kind of being able to have somebody to lean on, and for me, when I first started out, there's certain people in my life that help direct me to the path that I am on today, and obviously got a lot to learn still, obviously got a lot to kind of push forward to. However, I feel like those people were instrumental on at least getting me on a path that was successful. So, you know, we talked about investing, we talked about real estate. Let's dive in a little about the geodomes, bro. You know, I mean, we're here at the geodomes in Jourdanton, Texas, in a classified location. However, whenever I came up in here, man, you have about five geodomes on 20 acres.
Yeah.
And I mean, you come in here, you are able to kind of shower. You still got a restroom, air conditioned, and it's considered glamping, right? You have your bed, and really it's to enjoy a place, a time with your significant other, right?
Basically.
It's really not like for kids so much.
Not really, yeah.
Yeah, so you come out here, you could fish, you could feed animals, you could take a trail. I think it's a mile long, you mentioned.
Yeah.
It's already kind of paved with base material. So it's a really cool environment out here. And I know previously, whenever Robert first thought about this and you hadn't had it yet, I know you were like, man, should I, you know, what should I do with this property? Should I sell it? You know, he had a property here that had, you know, equity, and he decided to reinvest in it and do the more of the value add into his property. And so whenever I kind of was following him through this process, I mean, he did all this stuff mainly on your own, right, bro? Like sweat equity.
Yeah.
You left the slave job. You said, you know what, I'm going to put action in, and I'm going to develop something that's going to provide value to not only the property, but to your family through residual income. Because you guys could book on Airbnb. He also has a website.
Yeah.
So maybe tell us about what the website is, and also kind of tell us about your journey a little bit on what gave you this idea and, you know, how you made it happen. So
Yeah. So, I mean, after I left my job, I didn't know what the heck I was going to do with myself. I've always been employed. So I've been working since I was like 8 years old. So I've been working for a really, really long time. And used to work there at the Strawberry Festival Association, all that stuff too. So,
shout out.
yeah, shout out to
Poteet Strawberry
Poteet
Festival.
Strawberry Festival. Yeah, so I've been working for a really long time. So when I left my job, I didn't know what the heck I was going to do with my time. So I was like bored. I had some cash already stacked up. I already had some real estate properties. So I was like, well, I need to do something. I'm bored, so I need to do something. So I saw these actually in Switzerland, but they were actually like $2,000 a night. Like, they're expensive. So obviously $2,000 a night is not going to do very well out here in a small town. So like, well, we can, you know, scale it back a little bit and try it ourselves. So we started doing a little bit of market research and seeing people were making quite a bit of freaking money on these things. So I was like, okay. And then I was like, you know what? In a world where there's just so much chaos, so much noise, what if people would actually pay to come out here in the middle of nowhere, get away from everything, and hopefully reconnect with themselves, with their partner, whatever, right? Away from the kids, maybe, if that's something you're interested in. And it actually turned out to be the best idea ever. Honestly, and very happy that my job is no longer there, part of my life, because, you know, things have really changed. But yeah, a little bit about the domes. Like I said, we're sitting in here right now. We're cool, comfortable, AC. The AC is actually larger than what it's supposed to, than what's recommended for this. So it stays really, really cool. Everything's insulated. We have restroom showers, comfy beds, refrigerator, freezers, hot tubs, trails, you name it, it's probably here. But you're also able to see outside, you're in nature, and you're able to see deer if you walk the trail, turkeys, rabbits, all kinds of wildlife. Yeah.
No, man. I mean, to me, that sounds like you're at a resort.
Yeah, for
you know, and I know you have big plans for this place. And, you know, for me, knowing you these last maybe few years, you never really have a stagnant like thought process, right? It's like, okay, I did the geodomes, now I'm good, I'm chilling. No, you kind of actually gave me a little nugget about there's a future in these geodomes that you have planned. And from my understanding, you're going to put some money into it to kind of revamp these. So are these coming down and then you're rebuilding, or like, how does that work out, you know, on your plans? Or is that not, you know, is that information?
I'll give a little bit of information on it, but
cool.
we'll drop some serious cash in here and redo everything and make it. The whole goal is to be #1 in the country, not selling for anything less. Has to be #1 in the country. So that's what we're shooting for. But in order to do that, a lot of people out there have money. So in order to compete at that level, you have to drop some serious money into this. But a lot of people that I have seen do this are in more metropolitan areas. So they don't really have like nature. They don't even have a lake out there. That's usually more of an urban type setting.
True.
So I'm hoping and thinking, again, we still need to do more research on this, but being that we are so remote, and if we drop that kind of cash, people have the convenience of home and the luxuries, the IG worthy luxuries, and you can also just step outside. You can go in nature if you want to do that. Yeah, we're gonna revamp them and make them totally just crazy, out of the world, out of this world type of.
That gets me super excited. I mean, like I said, be able to kind of follow your journey, to be able to follow your successes, your wins, I think is something that we don't see a lot with either maybe in our area, young entrepreneurs aspiring to really get out of the norm, right? The areas that we've come from, it's real easy to kind of be put into this, hey, you have to go work here, you got to be a police officer, you got to be a nurse, and then in 60 years you're going to retire, and now you're going to get your pension pay, and then life is great. That's a beautiful picture that's painted to us as kids and kind of being in this area, whereas the internet and the YouTubes and all these quick informational era, right? Access to information has allowed people like Robert and I to really just open up our minds. And I know you have that in you guys. Like, I know you have the ability and the capability to exceed your potential. I know you have the capability and the ability to even be someone that you always thought you could be. And whether that's, like for me, it became like being able to say, hey, mom, don't struggle. Like, I have this house, you could just stay there. Like, that's what it came from me, where I was able to kind of say, hey, bro, you need a job? Come work with me. Now you start providing not only for your family, but for your extended family, not just your wife and kids, but your brothers, your dad. And there is a super cool web that is created whenever you focus on you being successful. And now, we have an awesome video guy who's right behind this camera has extreme talents. And so we're able to kind of bring in people like that to then pretty much, expand our wherewithal, our awareness to others out there just like you. And it was important for me to kind of bring somebody else in again, which I've had Robert here about 2-3 years ago during COVID. And you guys need to go check that out, because where he was at then to where we're both at now, and obviously doing bigger and better things and still have bigger and better things forecasted, that's how life should be lived. And it's always driven by faith, right? Robert mentioned how much faith is to him, and that is an equal common denominator that we share, is that faith is number one in all of this. So you got to get faith right. You got to be right spiritually. You got to be able to kind of see what it is that you're trying to be, and then you actually go and capture that. So that's what we're here doing today. I think, Robert, one of the other things that I wanted to share, or at least ask you about, is, I have a lot of people that maybe believe in me. They ask me for direction. I'm now becoming that guy, right?
Yeah.
Like, where like, oh, dude, you're doing this. What did you do? Or like, how am I gonna do this too? And I kind of really hadn't thought about being that person. Yeah. So for me, it's like, how do I explain that to somebody? And I want to ask you more in the crypto side. I have this 16-year-old who looks up to me. I'm his role model, and I almost feel at times that the information I give them is great, but I want to give them more, and I want to prepare myself to be able to feed someone the right information if they are a younger viewer. So in crypto, I feel like that's a good young attachment. Like, I can't tell him go buy a house.
Yeah.
He has like $1,000, right, that he saved since he was 12.
I see. Yeah.
So would crypto be something that like could be where he just dives $5, or like $100 a month? Like, I mean, definitely. So how would he do that, and what platforms are out there if you're under 21? I mean, is there anything, or do we have to kind of navigate through that for them?
Yeah, I think you would have to kind of see which platform. I don't know off the top of my head which platform allows under 21 or under 18. But the ones I use are Robinhood and Crypto.com and Coinbase. And yeah, $100 in crypto. I mean, you could easily in a bull run turn that into say 10K if you know what you're doing and you invest into the proper.
But the bull run would be preparing like today for the
be
bull
like
run.
today and holding it till a couple months, maybe till the beginning of next year or so.
Gotcha.
But yeah, and then to quickly talk about the faith thing, one thing I've kind of learned also, I'm glad you brought it up, because one of my missions is also to include God and my faith in everything that I do, because it's not being done alone. It's being done with something that I believe that is more powerful, stronger, and much larger than I am, which is God, Jesus Christ, or whatever you believe in. So I'm glad you bring that up, because if you ever take yourself too seriously, you will get humbled so freaking quick.
Oh, I
That's
see.
what I found out. If you take yourself so seriously, you will get humbled. So always remember you're just a man on earth. You're a speck of dust here on earth. So don't ever take it too seriously.
Yeah, that makes sense, bro. And that kind of means like, oh, you've made $100,000 or half
Yeah.
a million. No one could mess with me.
Mhm.
That's kind of what you're saying in that.
Yeah.
Like just
I know when I first hit my 100,000, I thought it was a shit, bro. 100,000 ain't shit. Like,
yeah,
they can
yeah.
go like that. One accident, one hospital visit, it's gone.
True,
So
bro.
It doesn't. 100,000 is not nothing. Even if you make $1 million, it's still like, just pull yourself back down to earth and just remember, like, you're human. You're human. Anything can happen. Doesn't matter how much money you have.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, that's a huge nugget, guys. Like Robert was saying, it cannot be forgotten that in all of this, there is a place to where you have to pretty much pay to, right? You you know, whether you go to church or whether you pray every morning, there has to be some type of spiritual routine in your life to help zero you in, right? To balance you out. The challenge that maybe someone like you may have, or maybe in my personal experience would be, you know, we have our kids and we have our wife and we have our parents and you almost feel like that's expected to be there every day. And whenever you kind of need to zero in and kind of humble yourself again, you really just got to just look what's in front of you and appreciate that, and really not just rush out the door, right? Give your child a kiss on the forehead, right? Give your wife that, hey, you look beautiful today, or your dad, give him that call, or your mom. And I'm not saying I'm perfect, right? And I'm not saying any of us are perfect in this room, but those are the little things that keep you in humility and appreciating the smaller things in life, because we do get caught up in making the millions and being able to say, hey, look what I've done and look what we've created. But at the end of the day, guys, we got to stay true to who our creator has made us to be and what we're here to do. And what that is being fisher of men, right? Bringing more people to Christ is our ultimate goal here at the end of the day. So when Rob, you know, solidified the fact that there's nothing done here without that, let's remember that's number one in everything that we're talking about today. And
I got a quick question for you. So this is a question I want to ask, I guess, people who have kids. So like in your position, you're doing pretty well in life, right? How are you going to teach your kids or bring up your kids to where they don't have a sense of entitlement? That's something I've been thinking about. And I don't know how I would do it. I have some thoughts, but obviously I don't have children myself. So my kids, I've had kids today, would have a pretty decent life. And that's not bragging, that's just being honest. So how would I bring up my kids to not have a sense of entitlement or to feel like they're better than everybody? How do you handle that, I guess?
Yeah, so I think there are levels in life, right? We're obviously not going to be Jeff Bezos, right? Not right now. Not to say we won't be, because I feel like I could be, right? So we're certain levels in life, and whenever that level in life brings you kids, like for me, it came in where I was a little younger, and where I'm at today wasn't where I was then. However, the entitlement part of it becomes to be like, okay, at some point, your child is going to be entitled in his head to something. And it's about mitigating that thought process. So like, I know that I want my kids to be confident, right? So they're entitled to be, hey, in this room, I'm going to own this bitch. You know what I mean?
I like that.
But it doesn't mean that I got to be a jerk,
Yeah.
right? It doesn't mean that I have to be someone that's not going to look you in the face and not shake your hand and appreciate the fact that you're a human being and that we share the same spiritual journey. In fact, in regards to, we all want to be a better person. We all want to bring people to Christ, right? That's the basis of how they will maintain their humility. But where we're at now, sports has been huge to keep them from thinking that they're always mighty compared to others. And I feel like a lot of people wait to put their kids in sports to like they're 10 or 12. And I feel like that is a whole decade of missed opportunities of you humbling your kid. Because I guarantee you, whenever you put your kid in sports, there's going to be someone faster than him. There's going to be someone that could do 10 push-ups while he could only do 5, you know? And I think that there was huge in my life, right? So it doesn't really matter the money, because at that point, the money is there, but the humility's already being handled, because you're like, dude, you didn't even freaking run fast, dude. You need to step it up, and you need to wake up with me at 6 a.m, and we're going to do this workout together. And that kind of keeps them, you know,
At a certain level.
right, you know, and that's what it's been for me. Like,
Good one. Yeah.
it don't get me wrong, it's tough because I gotta cut out early, and Chris, our videographer, sees this, and it sometimes throws the office off because they misinterpret me leaving at 3:30 as, bro, this dude's cutting out early.
Yeah.
But in reality, dude, I'm taking my kids and I'm coming back at 9:30 p.m. back home.
Yeah.
So like, I'm sacrificing so much for them, but I'm also sacrificing the culture in my business, that I got to reiterate to them that, hey guys, I'm not just leaving because, oh, I'm going to go hang out and watch TV. No, I'm leaving, taking my kids for an hour drive. We're staying there 2 hours. Then we're driving back. Then I got to feed them. Then I got to shower them. 11:30 p.m. midnight. By the time I'm going to sleep, waking up at 5 again. So it's like, there's things that you just have to do, because if you have money and you're like, leave them with the nanny till 5, the nanny will take care of them. We're not going to go to sport events. We're going to just come home. We're going to read a book. I think that's when the entitlement comes, bro, is when they're not exposed to being around other people that are more dominant than them, and not dominant in like sit down, but more of like the skill that they're doing, right?
Sure.
They could dribble better. They could, and it gives us parents a way to have a conversation on them and not put it on us, right? Like, you weren't listening to me, you know, go to timeout, go in the corner.
Yeah.
No, it's like, dude, you saw how you practiced today.
Yeah.
You saw how you performed today. Like, why weren't you confident? Like, why aren't you knowing you could do better? Why aren't you doing better at whatever that was? Now, I don't know if that kind of covered your question as a whole, but that's what I'm doing currently for my kids.
No, I like that.
Because we homeschool them, dude.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of opportunity for them to feel entitled.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
See, that's kind of what I was trying to get to too, is like, okay, if I had kids today, how am I going to, I guess, to kind of backtrack a little bit. So the reason I am so hungry today is because I had a lot of struggle. Grew up pretty poor, to be honest. Grew up pretty poor, didn't have a lot. Bought Walmart clothes, Walmart shoes, like it was basic stuff, right? How am I going to give the gift of struggle to my kids so they can stay humble? So they, you know, aren't always wearing name brand stuff and think this is how life is. When most kids really today, especially, can't like afford that. So how am I going to humble my kids and give them the gift of struggle when they don't actually have to struggle? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think that becomes of you being able to let maybe the past go.
I see.
And that not be brought into what their struggle is going to be.
I see.
And maybe I may be wrong, but like I sometimes feel, I feel like in that, like they're probably not going to have Walmart clothes.
Yeah.
And even if you bought them Walmart clothes, that's not going to provide the struggle to them.
For sure.
You know what I mean? It's you bringing them into what you're doing now, because you're actually the same person.
Yeah.
It's just your struggles are new now.
Yeah.
Your struggles are like, hey man, I need to power wash this shit.
Yeah.
You know, so you bring them into where you're at currently and provide your current struggles, in my opinion,
That's a good
to them, that shows them like dad's struggling.
Like having them come out here and work and
yeah,
like
you know.
it's a good one.
And like having them.
So that's something I've been struggling with. It's just like, if I have kids, how the hell am I going to raise them to where they're not entitled, you know? And maybe it's because I don't have kids, so. And I guess every child's different too. You know, I'm sure you probably see it between your kids. You know, they're different mentalities and things like that. But yeah, that's something that we've me and Hannah have kind of talked about, like, how are we going to do that to where they don't feel like that, you know? So
Yeah, I think the answer for me is I homeschooled them, and what I did there is I removed, at least there's great schools out there, guys. So you may have a school where some of the challenges that we faced may not have occurred, but the schools what we were taking them to just brought on like ridiculous struggles for them. So it wasn't really providing character. It's like getting hit in the back of the head every other week with a USB cord because the guy behind you is just retarded.
yeah,
You know, like, I mean, cool. So we just did homeschool, and plus the academics there weren't great. So we just said homeschool. So we knew that that would provide some challenges for us, social skills, maybe building confidence with others. So we had sports to kind of offset that. But what we did early on with our kids from year 1 to 3 is we took them to work with us a lot.
okay,
And so we would have them there, and yeah, maybe they have an iPad 30 minutes, and maybe they're not actually making copies, but they were just in the environment of the hustle.
yeah,
So they don't lack the hustle. And you said that each kid could be different. And yes, they are. But like in my kids, which I want to provide maybe some encouragement, is a lot of people will say like, man, this kid, you know, he'll get up, he'll go, and he's, you know, working hard. And my other kid, I can't get him out of bed. But like my both kids are actually like both like driven.
really, that's good.
It
Yeah,
trips me out. But I think it's because we raised them the same way.
I see.
It becomes more of like, oh, the first kid, man, you know, I'm so excited to have my first kid. Oh, come with me here, get in the truck. And the second kid, you're like, hey, stay with grandma.
Yeah,
That's what you don't want to do. You know, you want to include them as long as possible with you, and honestly, forever.
yeah,
Because the way I've already told my kids, they're working in the company. Like they already know they're going to be home builders. They're going to do something in real estate. They're going to be something in investing. You know, and that kind of goes to the point where we talked off mic is, do you think school's worth it? And I think school's worth it only if you have a plan.
true.
But they may not really need school
yeah,
at first because they're going to be already working. They're already going to be attaining income.
Yeah.
And so school's going to be something they could chew at if they like.
if they want to.
Right, as time goes on, going on Tuesdays and Thursdays, go get a class or two, whatever, because you want to have a doctor's in business.
Whatever.
Yeah, so I think you'll figure it out, but I also think you may have to consider your past experiences really not the same anymore. You know what I
Kinda
mean?
true. I mean, things have changed a lot since then. So like I can't, like how I was raised, you know, was working in the fields or working out there, which today no one's working in the fields. You have
Yeah,
machines
that's
doing
true.
that today.
That's
So-
true though. That's
so
true.
like, that's what I'm kind of
Okay.
thinking about. Yeah, I was like, how can I give them that same struggle? Obviously, I can't do it because things are different today.
Yeah, for real.
So, but yeah, and back to that whole college thing. I don't think college is necessary either. We both went to college, so both graduated. I don't think it's necessary today either. But if you have a plan, if you're going to be like a doctor, lawyer, things like that, yeah, I want the doctor who is going to be operating on me to have a good understanding of the anatomy of the body.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's certain degrees or fields that I would say it's very important for. But if you're going to college just to be successful, I don't think it's important. There's other ways to make money. There's, especially today with the internet. Like, I don't know for everybody, but I was pushed, you know, not pushed, but insinuated to go to school because that's going to be my way to success, you know? And again, that's coming from a mom who didn't graduate high school, a dad who just graduated high school, and who were working multiple jobs. So for their kids to go to school, that was a huge accomplishment. So that's the reason I followed the roadmap. And I did it. But today, college is so expensive. And by the time you leave college, you're already in $50,000, $60,000 worth of debt. I know a pharmacist who's like $100,000 worth of debt.
Well, and you got to remember
Yeah.
too, like, I think we're like at the end of what college had value in.
I think so.
Like, because now you have all these kids that are protesting that never made a check in their life. And then you talk about the what's that called? The indoctrination
Yeah.
of like of ideas and less spiritual. So all that comes into play too now.
Yeah,
You know,
sure.
so when we say college is not really necessary, it's because, you know, you're following this book that's supposed to get you success, but you never even learn how to do your income tax in 4 years, and you have a master's degree, or you didn't know how to, you know, do something simple, because in real world is simple to do, but however you spent 6 years never learning it. I think that's where it becomes an issue.
Yeah,
is like,
sure.
Where's the value in learning to invest extreme amounts of value? Where's the value of learning that in 1863, someone shot this group, and it's like,
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's cool and all, but it's like, I mean, we're in college, guys. Let's get some skills here.
We need some life skills. Like, I mean, finance was never taught to me in school, and I found myself like, okay, I made the money. Now what do I do with it?
For real, bro.
So that's where YouTube came in, and a lot of the older generation didn't have access to like YouTube, the internet. So like I asked my dad this question. I was like, if you had access to what we have today, you think you'd still be in the same position? He said no. And he said, obviously, because he didn't have the same opportunities that we have today, which is the internet. Back then, it was just working in the fields and just getting through the day.
For real.
Today, we have a lot more leisure time because we have the internet. So yeah, things have changed a lot. And if you are going to school strictly for success, or you think that's the only way to success, I don't think that's necessary. But yeah, but if you want to build character, or if you just want to learn how to talk with different people, if that's what you're going for the experience, then fine. If you have extra money to do that, fine. It's an experience. I think college is more of an experience today than it is.
For real.
actually
Yeah, that's
information.
true, bro. I never thought of it like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, for real. Because like a lot of people are like literally focused in on partying, or focused in on, I want to see this area, but like you can see it, if you just stack up and just focus on your income. So those are things that I mean, as we, as you have kids, and I know the Lord would bless you with awesome children when you decide to do that. For me, that I'm going to have to face one day is like how we're going to navigate through the college type of stuff. Because for me, not that I'm limiting my kids from traveling, but I'm pretty much already deciding for them. And I feel like the Lord's going to allow me to see this through I mean, they're not going to move to Wisconsin for college, bro.
Yeah.
Like, they're not going to just roll out. Like, they're going to be with me for a very long time.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to raise them past the 20 to 22 range where you go lost for a little while.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that was an age where I was just like, and then plus now I'm away from my family. That when I need them the most, like, I'm not going to do that, bro. And I don't care how much they cry, but dude, you're going to work tomorrow. You're going to get your ass up and you're going to show up. And then if you want to do courses, great. We're going to do it right here. And I'm going to help you do that. And, we're going to be supportive. And that's just what I'm going to do, that I felt like I've wasted literally from my 20 to like 28, 29 range figuring it out, that they're not going to have to figure out. At least that's what I'm telling
It cuts down some of that time, that learning curve.
And in reality, I think that's what we owe our children, because our parents probably didn't know the roadmap. My dad was picking cotton, and I know your dad was doing his thing, and it was so close to us. And for us to be here, to be able to say that, I mean, multiple millions to be made by us, I mean, there's huge aspirations that we have. And, I kind of want to transition into maybe some of the top 3 goals that you have. Some of my top 3 goals is like, I want to be able to, first of all, own over $1 billion of real estate one day. Like, that's just what I write down continuously in my journal, that I want to own over $1 billion in real estate, own in 10 different countries, own 10 different homes throughout the 50 states, to be able to kind of just do that while doing business, right? Like, that's my aspirations. So whenever you microscope it down, of course, I got to do this here. I got to invest to be able to get that one day. But, as we kind of get towards the end here, what are some of maybe your goals that you could share that maybe have an influence on what you're doing today in order to get to that point?
Yeah, if I had to give a single goal, like what's my target, I guess, is to be just absolutely free from everything. Mentally, everything, just mentally free. And in order to do that today, I want to be able to travel. I want to be able to stay wherever I want for months or weeks or whatever. And in order to do that, it takes money. That's just the way it is. It takes money. So right now I'm just still in the growth process, still trying to make the money. But to really have, I guess, a free life would be to accumulate enough cash or money to where you can put into like a high yield savings account, earning today would be 5.3%. So on $1 million, just doing some quick math, 5.3, you're making $50,000 a year doing absolutely nothing with your money in a savings account. You multiply that out to, 5 million, now you're living a pretty comfortable life, so you can travel and do whatever you want. So I guess that's the goal I'm moving towards, is just stacking enough cash to where I can travel and not have to worry about what's going on back home. That's my ultimate goal. How I'm going to get there is accumulating more real estate, accumulating more cryptocurrency, and those would be the two main roadmaps.
Yeah, because at any time something could just pop off.
Yeah,
and you could just get that I guess that little come up that you've been always looking for.
For sure.
So I mean, I think overall, bro, I think it was cool that you asked me a question too, because that was pretty cool about how to handle the whole kid situation. And I think for me, it allowed me to kind of think about what I'm doing with them, right? So I'm definitely going to take that home and kind of reanalyze that and make sure that I'm doing my part, right, to keep them from feeling entitled. But when you do have your kids, you're going to want them to have the right entitlement, not the wrong entitlement.
I liked what you said, though, about confidence, because I haven't even thought about confidence, to be honest with you. But I'm glad you brought that up, because I want my kids to feel confident. And like you said, I want them to be able to own the freaking room, but without being a jerk about it, too. So I like what you said that, because I haven't thought about that yet.
It's important, bro.
Yeah.
It's going to be super important.
Yeah.
Whenever that kid bumps them in the shoulder,
Yeah.
and they're just like, no, they're going to be like, bump them back, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, that's what you want for your kid.
Yeah.
So that's not him being entitled. That's just been him like, dude, like, I'm not going to be pushed around, bro.
Yeah.
So there's a blend that I feel like whenever we start teaching them, don't do that. No, you be nice. Like it almost entitles them the wrong way. Like you start pushing them towards, you could be entitled to, that I think that's when it becomes problems, because then they start seeking, certain things because you didn't really let them, I guess, be in their element, and you kind of cut that growth off. You know what I'm saying? So at least that's how I've seen it. Like, hey, man, he's getting a little scuffle. I'll let him roll with it a little bit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Kind of see who wins. And if he like loses, whooping that ass. Nah, just like. But anyways, those are little things that you want to see play out. Of course, if it's dangerous, whatever.
Yeah.
But all in all, man, I think it was a pretty successful episode here of this podcast. And without further ado, guys, I know you guys want to hear from my boy Robert about some tips to success for maybe the young entrepreneur or the new entrepreneur. I'll start off first, just to kind of start it out. So here, guys, the tips that we could take away if it is you looking to be that entrepreneur, for you to take a step away from your normal daily life and you're looking for something more. The few tips that I could give you is, number one, which I know Robert and I are on the same page on, is that spiritual know, kind of being able to say, hey, this is what I lean on when I don't know what's going on. This is what I come and zero out on. Whether it's a scripture, or whether it's attending mass, or whether it's just doing some type of charity work that's through spiritual charity work. So that goes without saying. But some tips that I could give you is being able to say that you commit to something. There was a time in my life where, as an education instructor, as a teacher, where I was like, this is all I'm going to do, and I'm set on it, right? And I began to believe that that's what I was going to do, until I hit a roadblock where I was like, man, this is not actually what's going to help me become a better person. So I had to take that leap of faith. And when I took that leap of faith, I committed to myself, not on someone else. I committed in my ability that no matter what happens, it's on me. So you take that commitment, and then you take the accountability that it's not mom's fault because she left, it's not dad's fault because, he wasn't there for you to give you your hugs, or it was not grandma's fault because she didn't make you the tortillas out of freaking, homemade tortillas. Like, it's you, bro. Like, whatever you're doing currently is because of you. Whatever you got negatively or positively from it is because of you. And as soon as you could look yourself in the mirror and be accountable for the actions that you're taking and the actions that happen to you, they happen to you and because of you, but they're not happening in a negative way. unless you're looking at it that way. And you need to take your life experiences and be able to kind of own up, move on, and continue to deep diving into what your dreams and aspirations are. And all in all, guys, as we hand it over to Rob on his tips, what can you tell us a little bit about that, man, for the young entrepreneur?
Yeah, so kind of to add on to what you're saying, victim mentality. That's kind of what I would use for that, for what you're talking about, victim mentality. You don't want to have a victim mentality because now you're not taking ownership, you're not taking control of your life. You're always saying, that happened because so-and-so did this, or, oh, that happened because whatever, right? You're blaming and putting all that control onto an external factor instead of internally taking control of it. So if you can take control of whatever it is, it may be something that is, quote unquote, somewhat out of your control, but if you can own it, and then now you have the control to change it or to better it, whatever it is. And I guess the most important thing is just not to take yourself so seriously. Don't get an airhead and don't think you're invincible, because that's when they're going to get tested if you start thinking like that. So I guess that'd be my biggest tip. Just don't take yourself so seriously. Don't be afraid to fail. Failure is inevitable, especially if you're after success. It's going to happen. It happens to all of us. And just as long as you continue to move forward, even after a failure, you're going to succeed. It's just, in a way, it's a numbers game. Just keep moving forward, keep diving forward, and at the end, you will find what you're looking for. And yeah.
Hell yeah, bro. That was awesome, because at the end of that, I know you mentioned, that roadblock. Like, typically, that roadblock is only letting you know that some real cool stuff is about to happen, bro. So it's kind of like the storm before the sunrise. Mm-hmm. And you know what, that, guys, we have Robert, my boy, Carrasco, YouTuber, entrepreneur, investor. His links will be in the bio and in the description to find all his channels, to find where we could book this lovely stay here for the GEO Domes in J-Town, Jordanton, Texas, South Texas, country living. And everything will be below. My name is Sonny here at the Poteet Homes podcast. If you're looking to build, buy, or sell in real estate, guys, don't hesitate to hit me up, and I could definitely help navigate through anything that you're going through real estate wise. And if you have any questions in investing and how to make a successful investment entrepreneur out of yourself, don't hesitate to reach out. As a pleasure to always have you guys. God bless. Please tune in, like, share, and subscribe anytime you can to share it. We would always appreciate that. Again, guys, thank you so much, and we'll see you on the next one. Let's go.
That was a good one, man.